Welcome to the StockMentor.com studios here in the Black Hills of South Dakota. I'm your stock mentor, Brian Johnson. I'm making professional trading simple. And Friday night, wrap up for the week. We had a pretty flat day in the markets. Really wasn't a whole lot to talk about today. Sent out an update for my subscribers intraday and then went and ran some errands. Didn't miss anything. I think it moved 3 points in the 2 hours or so I was gone. And it's obvious by the chart. Just a chop sideways here. Next week we'll bring Thanksgiving, and that should mean lighter volume. On lighter volume, we've been seeing nothing but prices go up. So we might see the exact same thing next week. We're just simply going to pay attention to support and resistance areas. So here this week, I'm just going to do a quick, I'm going to diagnose this, really take some time to look it over and come back on Sunday night. No sense in doing a full week review here on a Friday when I'm going to be back on a Sunday. So on this Friday, let's talk quickly about this consolidation area we're seeing again. And this is very common. Man, we've seen this a lot lately. It's one big move, consolidation. One big move up, consolidation. Big move up, consolidation. Big move up, consolidation. It's just lather, rinse, repeat. It's the same thing over and over again. So big move down, consolidation. In the grand scheme of things, this is actually kind of bearish behavior now that we had this topple. Up here we had a consolidation. When you see consolidation at the top of a move, you have to be neutral to somewhat bullish on that. That is bullish behavior to see that, and that is what we've seen in the past. A move up, consolidation moves up, not down. This time, though, we saw consolidation with a move down. Very curious to see. Now we're seeing a move down with consolidation towards its lows. Let's see if that makes a difference in the bears next week. I'm very cautious going into next week simply because with light volume, it's always brought us bullish behavior. And maybe I'm just, my expectations are a little bit misguided. Maybe there'll be lots of volume at the beginning of next week. I don't know. I just, imagine people, all the big money going and spending the entire week in the Hamptons with their families and the big houses and whatever else they do. I don't know what they do. But anyway, we'll see what, I have to remain I really have to remain neutral. I'm going to really try to do that. I want to get rid of the hey, I'd love to see a big bearish action next week. I have to stay away from this has always lend itself to bullish behavior when we have light volume. I'm just going to let the charts decide. Come next week, we've got a lot of stuff. We got just a little bit of work we got to do from the bull side to get over this area here, and maybe we do see a retest of this line up here. So I'll be back this weekend with a little bit more on that. From a daily standpoint, you can see we have pulled back from this upper line again, but very similar to what we saw here. Maybe we see one more push up and another attempt to retest this upper trend line here and try to keep the bulls interested and keep them buying into the markets. NASDAQ falling down. This was, as you see here, on the 60-minute for the Dow, we can see that it moved pretty much sideways to up, while the Nasdaq and the SPX actually both did kind of move down in the over the day's movement, but flat. Very difficult to trade today. Very hard to pull any money out of this. This is interesting to me that we did see it finally fall below this rising trend line here. Let's see if it'll come back up and retest that early next week. If it does and it holds, we may see another move to the downside from there. From a weekly standpoint, now we can look at this, and this held very nicely up here. Very nicely. I don't see a lot of volume coming in, so we're going to need more participation than that for this upper resistance to hold. But it did hold on the first test very nicely, which is what I mentioned would probably happen. On the first tests, those usually hold pretty nice. Very defensible places to get short. SPX, same thing, kind of down most of the day. The daily standpoint, it did drop below this here starting yesterday. We got back below this double topping area in the 1100. This 1100 is just posing no end of problems for the bears and the bulls. Needs to really break down to find its path. Here, a retest of the underside of this held nicely. We were going to wait till the end of the week to watch this, but I love that this actually held this week. So once again, the next candle starts over here. Maybe one more test of this upper before it falls. Coming into a light week, don't know yet. We'll wait and see. However, I will bring your attention to this. Very, very, very light volume up here. So even though this is a topping candle to some and ooh, imminent reversal, no, doesn't mean anything to me. There's no volume behind it. There was no interest in that. So I don't care what the candle is at this point. VIX, we saw it down today too, which was kind of odd. Markets are down and the VIX was down. So there's your divergence. Just, the fear hasn't really started pouring into the market yet. We saw it yesterday with a big move up, and then the fear came right out of the markets. Today, the markets moved down, and fear came out of the markets. So no one's really excited about leaving the long side quite yet. We can see it start to move its way down to this dotted line here. If we get a harder push down, break this, look for it to retest this lower line here. Apple on a 60-minute. Boy, this thing had some nice plays beginning of the week.